it is that time. It is that time, and I got to go off that pre-talk of saying, "Thank God I'm not dumb." Anyway, I'm tall and blonde. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Anyway, welcome, fellow truth seekers, to Paranormal Radio right here on YouTube. And I want you guys to get ready because we're about to embark on an exhilarating adventure into the realm of the, well, inexplicable, where the boundaries of reality, I'm going to say, instead of saying are shattered, have been shattered. Today, we're going to bring you an extraordinary episode that will challenge your perception of time itself. So you get to join us, these wonderful people here, to unravel the enigma of time. Can I go back in time and do that again? Anyway, time travel. Time travel. Yes.
Towel. Okay.
My tongue got washed out. Can't do a thing with it. So what I'm going to say is just really be prepared to be captivated by God bless America. Yeah, I can't talk today. But we're going to show you some mind-blowing photographs, jaw-dropping accounts of extraordinary events that defy the laws of nature. We'll also delve into untold stories of temporal voyagers, revealing shocking encounters and unexplained phenomenon that will leave you questioning the very fabric of existence. Now, you don't want to miss this because we also have with us the wonderful, the lovely Miss Renee, who's joining us tonight.
And she looks like she's outside.
I am. Do you hear the fireworks? Somebody still thinks it's the 4th of July. And thank you for that great introduction, EW.
You're welcome. We got very lucky this year for 4th of July. We didn't have that many fireworks. Maybe it's because the heat's extremely hot and we've got a lot of fire warnings. So everybody's like, no. And then, of course, it's 8 o'clock and still 101 outside.
I know. I saw your weather forecast. And I looked at and he said to move to Texas. It'd be funny. No, thank you.
The next 10 days, triple digits.
Yes.
Oh my God.
His lows are the highs that I like.
Yeah. Well, those would be my kind of highs as well. Now, Renee, I'm actually surprised you're sitting outside because isn't that side of the United States getting hammered with the 100-year rain?
Oh my God. We have had so much rain, and I'm up north right now, actually, just south of the Adirondack Mountains. So they haven't had it as bad as I've had it down by the Finger Lakes. We have been hit so hard down there. In Oswego, which is off of Lake Ontario, they had major flooding and everything. And knock on wood, I haven't. I mean, we've had the typical flooding that you get with real heavy downpours, like down in Ithaca or Cortland, where the streets flood. But that's because the drains aren't used to the heavy downpours. A lot of power outages and stuff like that have been happening, and it's been kind of warm, but not unbearable. So, knock on wood, so far we're okay. But we've had some really scary ones. We've had some really scary storms, and being in a trailer, it's not.
Yeah. Well, my son lives in Cornwall, like 15 minutes away from West Point. They almost got 8 inches in 24 hours. And he had posted something about all, the people that are there are so nice and helped him, that his basement completely flooded out. And he said, I'll call you back, Mom. Of course, that was earlier this week. He's never called me back. So I don't know the extent of the damage. But I feel really bad.
I saw, I think we were watching the news It was last week. I can't remember which reporter it was. So, but no, it's not anything like Fox News. I think it was NPR. But they were saying that one place had got up to 12 inches of rain in a matter of like 30 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is all, my theory on this, so, and on all these fires and everything else. So we won't get into that. But
yeah. It's an interesting thing. I mean, we could talk about a lot of changes weather-wise because there's a lot of people who don't realize what's happening. And of course, I'm not going to mention any particular people who might have said some of this is because of
climate change.
Global warming.
No.
Well, global warming now is climate change.
It's not. It's not even real. The Earth goes through its cycles. The Earth goes through its cycles. The sun goes through its cycles. Everything is. This is normal. This is a money scam. This is another scam. But this weather is man created. And I saw it through my time travel. So.
Yeah.
Everything's about that almighty dollar.
These are the new weapons.
Well,
these are the new weapons.
Explain why you think they're a weapon.
That's my curiosity. They're a new mass weapon that we had HARP, right? We had HARP, and then we sold it to China, and then there's CERN. But there's this newer technology that's been out, and I saw it in my time travel. And this technology is basically lasers that can either come out of the ground or through the sky, and sometimes it represents a form of lightning, but it's a lot different. It's more intense, and they can direct where these are going to hit.
Right.
And this is a form of war. This is a form of control.
There's a movie called Storm that
and sometimes it can, and sometimes it can do when it hits, it can form what looks like a nuclear mushroom, but it's not. And as a matter of fact, when I had described it, when I was doing the time travel, it was all recorded, and I had talked about this. So it's in the recording, it's in the video, and I read an article 2 weeks ago where a farmer out in Canada had described when one of the fires had started and how it looked like a nuclear mushroom, but it wasn't. So, and I did this time travel 4 years ago.
Interesting. Okay. Now, part of the reason having Renee here is I want to know how she feels with some of these things that we're going to talk about tonight. We might have to call them time slips, possibly, or time travel is kind of the big thing we're going with when we describe some of these. But some of these others, I don't think there's an explanation for it, to be honest.
Now, are these ones that are future-wise, EW, or are they the past? Like, are they going to the future or the past?
A little bit of both.
Okay. Because it is very possible. It is very possible. And when I did mine was through hypnosis.
Okay.
The only thing is that there's been a shift. There's been a major shift in the matrix a couple of times, and that too can be controlled. And so things are happening a little bit faster than when I had seen them. So with these shifts in the matrix, it's definitely definitely like raising my eyebrows, going, interesting, because of course happening faster than in, what I had seen in the years that I had seen on the calendar. But yeah,
Right.
it's all happening. It's all coming true.
Well, I want to give you one right now that we're going to get from um, a YouTube video, but I'm not going to play the whole thing. The idea is because I want you guys to take a look at it and tell me what you think. All right. Now, I want you to remember that, boxing is a pretty intense sport on its own in the first place. Okay. But this particular incident holds something, and then they're going to tell you what they viewed or what they claim it is. But then we're going to talk about it. Okay. This is the first of a couple of pieces of evidence that we'll throw out there as a potential proof of somebody who's supposedly time traveled. Here we go.
Out of place in this video? Look closely. It's a Mike Tyson fight from 1995, 21 years ago. And what's that guy in the crowd holding? Could that be a smartphone? We're used to a sea of smartphones recording historic events like the Pope's visit to America. But back in 1995, the internet is going wild with headlines like, "Did time traveler film Tyson fight?" We've seen this before. Check out this Charlie Chaplin movie premiere from 1928. Is that a woman walking with a cell phone? Sure looks like it. Look again. And there's this footage from 1938. It sure seems as if she's talking on a cell phone. Back to the 95 Tyson fight. Well, we may have solved the mystery. We did some digging and found out the device in the video is not a smartphone at all. It's an early version of a camcorder called the Dicam Logitech. Why is it human beings are so much more...
Yeah, shut up. Let's go back to his image. This is the so-called video camera that they claim was in this Tyson fight.
I don't remember that.
I don't either. But let's take a moment and let's take a good look at this a second. What is the big black thing right in the center of the whole? Okay, that's the lens, the lens that would be capturing this video. All right, that's what they claim this is. So let's travel back to a little bit farther and take a close look at this person who is filming. This is the camera that's doing the filming, and if you look while it was moving, there is no lens. You see fingers. You see what looks like our cell phone today. Okay, so I'm going to play this forward a little bit.
Back in 1995, the internet is going wild with headlines like,
So are we looking at what is possible evidence in 1995 of time travel?
It's possible with this one being so new, because I've never seen this one before. I how they, Photoshop and everything else, right? For video and whatnot. And it almost appears that way to me, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Well, but then we saw two others, and yes, the Charlie Chaplin video.
Yeah.
That's 100% legit.
Yes, those have been around a long time.
Yeah. And this video has been around for a while too, but they never really made a big thing about it because some claim that their so-called video recorder that they had in that time is that device there.
Did you look it up?
I did. And the picture he shows is exactly the picture that we see. So there was no need to just bring in another picture. So if I
But I
take
don't
it,
remember camcorders like that.
I don't
Like
either.
that.
Yeah, I know, right? 'Cause I don't recall any of them like that. I
No.
remember them being big and gaudy. You know, I mean, it's like this monster. Okay, and you had your VHS tape.
Right. Right.
Hey,
But you know, I mean, who knows? I mean, like I said, with Photoshop and everything else, it just looks a little bit too fuzzy for me. And in 1995, even still, our video technology for TV and whatnot was a lot better, right? I mean, than what that's even showing. So, I don't know. I want to say that it's not real. I just want to say that it's not real. It just doesn't. Even his fingers on the camera, if you look at it, they don't look right. On the guy with what Mike Tyson. It just doesn't. His fingers even look odd.
okay, let's take a look at that again.
But back in 1995, the internet is going wild with headlines like,
Is
"Did
it just
Time
me?
Traveler film?"
Maybe
No.
I think a lot of it's pixelation, but if you look carefully, this individual is actually looking at the screen on the other side.
Right.
And this is the only port that we see for the recording.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Not this big gaudy lens in the middle
Right.
that they were trying to show.
Right.
So I'm sorry. I don't know if I would go with the idea of potential Photoshop, but why is it making the news? Of all the places to go, why is this one making news?
Right. See,
All
this
right.
is. I still feel with everything that we've got going on nowadays, I just feel it's another scare tactic. I feel it's another.
Okay.
I don't feel in my gut or what I'm hearing that it's necessarily real.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do a little different location then. Let me get into the new one here because yeah, it's not an easy switch like I want it to. So what if we were to deal with a time traveler? Go away. A time traveler. This is New York Times, mind you. Okay, just want you to know that this is the New York Times. And this article came from the New York Times back in February of 2018. And you can see that here as well. So it is not an unknown article. It's not garbage as far as this article. So let's give you an idea. This time traveler claims, pardon me, to have traveled back from 2030. Not that far off. Okay, so
Okay.
we're giving you, this is a guy who's coming from the future back in time to do that. Here's the weird parts. He passes a lie detector test. Now, okay, maybe not so weird, right? Because there's people who can pass lie detectors tests. But here's his predictions. Trump will be reelected.
Mm-hmm.
And another prediction he said that is in 2028, time travel will be invented and the first humans will land on Mars.
Probably, yes.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, now the rest of this, there's a reason I didn't go down because parts of this article, okay, this one doesn't have it. It shows him holding up a picture on his cell phone, and it's a picture of Putin, but he claimed that was the picture they're claiming is supposed to be Trump being reelected. So honestly, I'm not going to go anywhere with that. But how hard is it for us to make a prediction of the next presidential election? I kind of almost invited Greg here for that particular thing because everybody asks me my prediction and I have been spot on every single time.
And do you think?
I don't think, I know. Put enough of the stuff together and you will see that the way things are going right now, the only way you could prevent Trump from getting reelected at this moment is his butt goes to jail. So how unbelievable is it that Trump's going to get reelected? And that election, mind you, is in 2026. So by his statement 2 more years after that, we're going to see, time travel created and the first people on Mars. How do I think that the Mars thing is not legit is only because they would have to launch now to maybe make it by 2030.
Well, Elon Musk is working on that, so
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me.
Already. They don't
Yeah.
tell us diddly squat.
So
This is true. And, I know that there's other incidences where what do you call it? Virgin Airlines, that's the one I was trying to think of. They supposedly now are one of the first that have offered, tourist attracted space flight. Now, if you want my opinion, that's going to be a disaster, just like the people traveling to go see the Titanic. But
well, Elon Musk said that that he's working on it. Of course, some people will die when they get there, right? Because of the atmosphere and maybe not having it quite right. But he's been working on it, and it should be interesting.
Thank you, Evie. That was the one I was trying to think of. I wasn't thinking of, the guy's name. It was the actual company. So Virgin Galactic. So thank you. But yes, look, you know me already, Renee. You know how I am about certain predictions, and certain ones I can say I agree with, and others I can say, no. And in this particular case, I don't find this a difficult answer. But because the article came out in 2018, and he does not specify the re-election period.
Excuse me.
Because if we were to take it as, Trump was president in 2018, so you're saying he's going to get another term right back to back. Okay, then we could argue that it's not correct. But being that we see this article now and there's really no specification of time for that, then yes, it could be argumentative as just a ideal prediction going up against all the ones we see now, and you just look and say, like Mike Pence is going to be running against Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm sorry, the dude his name's already been soured because of Trump's term the first round. So
what I've noticed, people are fickle, they're funny, they forget things, too willing to forgive in some cases, and they go with the crowd. And Pence has been doing a lot of Bible pushing and stuff, but they need to take a look back at what he did, and people seem to forget that.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. Yes, you are absolutely right. All right, folks, now it's time for evidence. Proof. So here we go. This picture here is of a gentleman who is, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to say his name correctly, but his name is Sergei Ponomarenko. Ponomarenko. I hope I say that right. So this is a photo that was taken from a camera before he mysteriously disappeared in his time. Okay. Obviously, black and white. The time period is so far back. Can I make it full screen? Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise I'm going to have to get up and everybody's going to take a drink.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I mean, it's already blurry on one set. So let's see. How's that? Any better?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this gentleman, the story that we're going to get about him is weird. He just one day is walking out in New York, where his home is at the time, and he's from Ukraine. I got to make sure you know that too. He is from Ukraine, but he is mysteriously walking out in front of his place and disappears. He finds himself out of place in a new time, 2006. Okay. At this moment, he's lost. He's confused. And of course, police pick him up for what they call a welfare check. You know, like, this guy's not making sense. What's going on? They end up looking at his ID, and his ID, his identification shows that he's not from the time that we're looking at. I mean, they're like, well, wait a second, this is this a fake? Is this for real? Okay, I'm going to give you this, but I'm doing what Evie said. I'm trying to blow it up so it'll be a little bit more easier to see. All right. And in this photo of his wonderful driver's license, as you can see here, there was certain information that was only recorded back in 1932. And he mysteriously appears in 2003. Did I say that right? Was I wrong? I think I might have said the wrong time. Did I say the wrong time?
2006.
2006. Yeah, I was off by 3 days. Okay, or 3 years. Okay, so while they're talking to this man, they're looking at his ID and they're like, well, doesn't make sense. What's going on? And of course, he tells them he was born in 1932. And of course, he looked the part because he's dressed in the clothing from 1932, carrying that old-fashioned camera and, of course, the dated outfit. The most compelling thing was that he held a Soviet document from the 1950s, which he carried, that showed his age as being 25 years old. Now, a 25-year-old, how's a 25-year-old going to know what, documents from 1930s to 1950s? How does he know what those are, or how they're going to be? And yeah, granted, everybody can do these forgeries and stuff, but this is where it continues to get weird. They decided to take his camera and develop it. And as they're developing the film, they found images that did show Kiev, Ukraine, in the 1950s, and also showed him with an unnamed woman as well as an image that he claimed showed a UFO. Now, if you guys paid attention to last week's show, we did show this UFO. This UFO was of an image that we were kind of talking about. And I said, pay attention because this is going to be a part of next week's show. So now that I have it up here, let's do the wonderful share. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So this is the UFO. Now, as I was telling you last week, this particular UFO was, the way he described it, it was a bell-shaped UFO. He took a picture of it, which is crazy. But the story took another turn when authorities looked back into records and found a man of the same name who went missing in 1958. They tracked down the man's girlfriend, who by the time was already in her 70s. And it turns out that the girlfriend was the woman in the photograph. Oh, I know. You're going to ask me, do you have that photograph? I do. That's the best part of it all. I do actually have that. And this photograph is of the same man who at this point is, obviously out of place. I mean, that's all I can say. So this is the young lady at the time, and of course the same guy I was showing you. But now that police are talking to him, she's in her 70s, and she admits, yeah, that's me. That was me young, and that's what she tells them. She verifies this. And this gets weird because now we're like, well, wait a second. How are you in this picture with the man who's gone missing, but we're talking to him now and he's young? It's like their minds just went. So it might not be the worst part of the story. Because here's where it gets interesting. Some believe he was cloned, and this is where they put him in. But after spending, oh God, how many days was it? I was hoping I had that written down here, but I don't. So after spending so many days here in their future, he disappears. But what's interesting is they actually have him in a psychiatric ward because they think he's nuts. And there's no escape, obviously, but they walk in and man's gone. And they could never heard or seen from him again. But later pictures reveal that he's back in this time. What do you think? Evidence,
it's
a
possible.
picture. Yeah, it's a picture showing the potential of somebody from the future. Or, well, no, actually from the past moving to the future. Right? And
our mind and our body and what we're capable of is beyond what people can comprehend. And it almost scares them to think that this is fathomable and that it can happen to anybody, and it really can. So, I mean, I feel it's possible. I did it. I did it, but I was off to the side looking in when I did it. So
okay.
I was not like interacting with the people. I was an observer.
Right. Well,
and off to the side. I was there looking in and describing what I was seeing and different locations, and it was interesting.
Okay. Well, let's take a moment
I was wide
here.
awake.
Let's take a moment here and let's see. Would we consider Egyptian art, like hieroglyphs or any kind of art from the past, as evidence of possible time travel?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you said that because here you go. What we see in this image is an artwork from the past of what looks to be a queen, and I have. Oh no, sorry. They just call her a Greek woman with a laptop. My bad. Now, we could say, oh, but this is unique. It's a box or
Right.
something. But if you look carefully, you can actually see ports on the side of this thing, like it's a laptop. Is this legitimate enough evidence to say proof of time travel? What do you guys
Of
think?
course, not for anything, EW. You know, things in the Bible, things, some of this ancient artifact stuff and whatnot. You know, psychic mediumship is not evil, and it is not. It's not anything bad, and people did it throughout. How else do we have some of this information from the past that we still hold to our hearts, right? I mean, somebody came up to me and goes, "Oh my God, you're a prophet." And I said, "What? You're a prophet?" And I said, "I'm a prophet." And she goes, "Yes, like in the Bible, the prophets, they spoke to God and they knew." And she goes, "They were psychic mediums." And I was like, "You believe that?" And she's like, "Yes." I said, "Okay, thank you." you know, but I said, I don't think I'm a prophet. She goes, "Well, you can predict things." Um, and I was like really surprised. My face is looking, my sister turned on a green light and now I look odd, but
Yeah, you're fine.
No, you're
so
fine.
I think, huh? The
You're fine.
shadow, I think, of my phone is making me.
Yeah, it's just that little shadow, but
Anyway, so I mean, we are so capable of so much. And in the past, there were people like me out there, way back in ancient history and stuff. And I think it was more almost acceptable back then than it is today, or in between that period, because again, of fear and control, wanting control of the people and stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't shock me in the least.
right. Well, this next one is going to bother some folks because the story itself is weird, but these are actual photos from the CIA. So we're gonna kind of look at them and discuss those for a second because yeah. So the first one here, I want to introduce this gentleman. He is a very unique individual for the fact that his name is Alexander Smith, and he claims to have been part of a top secret CIA mission in 1981 in which he time traveled to the year of 2118 and back. Now, during an interview, he
Hmm.
showed this picture that you see here that he claims is a future city. What do you think? I do have another picture of the city, but I want you to understand this blurriness is not from us. This is exactly the pictures that they offer. So it's like, okay. I mean, the dude himself kind of looked like he's from time traveled, but so here's a close up of that picture, the best that we can get. And again, it's not that easy, but to me, it does not look like a city. It looks like somebody did some kind of jade art.
Well, things are definitely going to be changing, and there's going to be major changes and major transformations in the not too far future. So, what I can say is that, I feel that people really need to come together and put these differences and this division aside, and try to prevent some of what's going to come down the pipe. And I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening, because I think ego is going to get in the way. And
Unless something really monumental happens, they're not going to do
our
that.
cities are going to look totally different in the future. What was that, Annie?
Unless something monumental is going to happen, then they will not do that. Get together.
Yeah, no. People tend to put their differences aside on everything when there's major catastrophe.
Right.
And that's usually when it's too late. So,
too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
Yep. It's about ego.
Okay. So this is where we might come into parts of what we might call time slips, maybe, or a time travel shock. I mean, it's kind of hard to determine. And God, I was hoping for a better picture again of that. I had the picture, but I accidentally erased it right now. So bear with me a second. I guess I'm actually searching the web really quick for this one, which isn't going to do us any wonders. So, okay.
Well, while you're looking for that, my fan that was completely dead decided to come back to life.
Woohoo! Renee's been
thank you, Renee.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm like, my face is so red. I'm dying in here. It's either hot in summer, cold in the winter.
It's not bad out here right now, but my sister turned on the green light, and it's like I'm trying to get to my face isn't so red, but then she has her yard taken care of a lot, and she said, "Oh, you won't get bit by mosquitoes." And guess what?
Nom.
They're like all out here, and they're all in the house all loud, so that's why I didn't go in the house.
Right.
To do this. So I'm getting bit. So wait till I tell her all that money you spent. It didn't work.
Didn't do a thing. Yep. All right. So here we go. It is time. I am offering you photographic evidence of time travel. This is one.
It looks like Greg sitting in the middle.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because that's the person we're talking about. This individual in the middle is what they're calling the time traveler surfer dude. Okay. And basically, if you look at him, he looks nothing like the people around him. He looks like he is really out of place. And there is a bigger picture of this, but it's harder to zoom in on him without it blurring. That's partially why the picture did get deleted by accident. And these people are sitting on a beach. Now, this dude looks like he's ready to grab his board and go jump into the water. Either this is one heck of a Photoshop, or he's actually there. But what makes us believe he's actually there is if you look at the two men off to the side of him, they're looking right at him. They're like, "You're out of place, dude. Who are you? Where'd you come from?" type
and
thing.
He's got his hand right on the other guy's hand.
Oh, yeah. I see. That's why he's like, I ain't that type of guy. But yeah. So it's either a very good Photoshop, or this is photographic evidence of time travel.
Like I said, I think it's very possible. And there's been many times where I've been seen around the world that I don't recall, but people are like, you were here, I saw you, I physically saw you, and you waved, you said hi, and then you were gone. And I'm like, well, our souls, our own spirit. I mean, we're so capable of so much, like I said, that it goes beyond what we can comprehend and or want to comprehend, right? So, I mean, it just, I mean, in all actuality, what are we? Spirit in a body, right?
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we are capable of doing so much more than we can even realize or fathom at this time. And the reason it hasn't come out is because it's fear, right? And fear is a big factor with a lot of things. And I'm telling you, I'm going to talk to my sister.
You're just so
I
sweet.
do not have a picture of this.
I've got like a whole bunch of them around me. Like,
you need to light up a cigarette; they'll go away. Weekly World News in 1999 released an article that they had printed in 1918 newspaper, which had the title "Mysterious Man Found in 2-Foot Space Tube." Space travel was not around during that time. But I cannot find the actual article to back that up. But I do want to put that one in there just so people know if you stumble across it. We would love to see this one because this one is a very unique thing. The more important part that they said that showed that it had some kind of proof of space travel or time travel was that the documents that the gentleman had in this tube had meta font, which was not around in the 1918s. It was created in 1990. So this was one of those kind of back and forth things. But again, without having a article to support it, I can't prove that for you and put that one out there. But this next one is going to be the one that finishes us out for the night because this next one is so well. Okay, wait, there is one more. I'm sorry. Let me add the one more. So we talked about moments of people in the past having those cell phones. They had the video, the Charlie Chaplin video, and then the workers. What about another famous individual who might have had one? And people have said that she time traveled. Do you recognize this individual?
Yeah, Marilyn Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
What is she holding?
I haven't the slightest idea. Could be a mirror. Who knows?
Some say it's a pack of cigarettes. Others say that she was very attracted to this device and was on it quite a bit, which, if you look careful enough, it does kind of resemble that of a cell phone. And I'm talking today's type of cell phones. But because this is the only photographic evidence of it, it's not something I'm going to stand by and say, this is it. Not happening. So
and she was an actress too, so I mean,
yeah. So I mean, anything is possible.
Props are pretty.
So now, here we go. I am giving you the headline. I love the name of the headline. That's the reason I did this. Time traveler skips town. This man, Andrew Carlson, is a self-proclaimed time traveler. Here's what's interesting about him. I didn't go back far enough. He claims he's from the year 2256. He traveled back into 2002 where you will find there is no record of him before that. So they do have record of him mysteriously starting in 2002 going forward. But here's what's interesting, that he started to do the stock market. And in doing so, he made over $350 million. Now, this threw up a lot of red flags. The SEC and the feds decided, oh, we need to talk to this guy. As they interviewed him, he offered photographic proof that he's supposedly a time traveler and has not only traveled back to our time to do markets, which he originally only wanted to make up to so much, which was like about 800 a day, not realizing it was going to turn into such a big amount. But he also offered photographic proof that he was in the past. And we're like, excuse me? How's that possible? Well, this next image I'm going to show you has two time travelers. Oh, crap. I didn't have it ready. It shows two time travelers out of place in this photo. And one of them is the gentleman we're talking about right now. So I'm going to get rid of all these other... Oh, I did have it open. Doggone it. Okay, let's try this again. So real quick, take a look at our gentleman. Get a good image of him. You see him, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to take you to... Hopefully this works. Ta-da! Nope, did not switch. Come on, you stupid computer. We got to do this the right way, and you're not working. So let's try that again. So now that you have his face in your mind, here we go. So the red circle indicates another time traveler of who's out of place. This particular event was photographed by the news in Canada because this was the opening of a bridge that collapsed in Canada. All right. And this was their opening of it coming back. So take a look at this man in the glasses, the monogrammed shirt. You know, this is way out of place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess who else claimed to have been there? Right here. The gentleman that we just were talking about, who was obviously claiming he's traveled back in time, and he's there in this same photograph. Is this evidence of time travel? I'm leaving that one up for you guys to kind of ponder. Because this is
possible, but look at the gentleman not circled, right? He almost looks like he could be transparent, right?
Almost, except for
he's fuzzier than the rest of them.
Well, I think it's not just that he's fuzzy. I think he's so white that he's reflecting. He needs a little sunshine. Renee, you need to teach him how to get a tan. But no, this is actual documented proof of definitely two people that are supposedly out of place. Now, good picture to save to the end because, hello, we're looking at...
And nobody's paying attention to them either. Like, nobody's paying attention to them, which makes me wonder at this point, like, do people actually recognize that? Do they understand that? Is that just, our spirit time traveling, which our spirit can go forwards, backwards, anywhere it wants to go. And it can, like any spirit that's passed can manifest.
Right.
But, does it, Is that what it is, right? Their physical bodies are not actually time traveling. It's more of their spirit.
Possibly. Now, the reason why the gentleman in the is circled in the red is to also point out quite a few things with his clothes. The monogrammed clothes were not invented for a long time from this particular image.
Right.
So this would be the 1940s, and they were around the South Fork Bridge in Canada. I'm not 100% sure where that is. I did have the information on that, but I didn't make a note of that. But for those who know the Canadian area and the South Fork Bridge, this is a 1940s picture, and in the 1940s, monograms were not a.
Well, what do you mean? Are you talking about like his T-shirt?
Yeah.
Like it's screen printed. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Screen printing wasn't invented for long ways out, so that's why he stands out. Now, the other gentleman who claims to be in this picture as well, the one that I pointed out that you even mentioned, that he just really looks bright in a sense.
He has a dark T-shirt on.
Yeah, but he does look like the picture of the gentleman who claims he's from the future.
Right.
And it's kind of a tough call because this is pretty interesting evidence. And here's the thing. This picture is not just laying around for people to play with. This was actually printed in a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So every piece of evidence I offered today were actual documents from news articles themselves. And this gives you the chance to kind of see that it's not like somebody was playing around. Now, the colored images that we did use, those themselves did have an interesting twist on how they were shown. And I just kind of not fans of those ones. This is one that a lot of people have had a hard time debunking. And if it is Photoshop, this is one heck of a Photoshop.
Right. Yeah, the one guy, he looks like he's out of, definitely. I mean, of course, the one with the circle, he looks more solid than the other guy.
Right. Right. And well, you can tell that that guy is there, the one that you're concerned about, because if you look at the lady behind him, she's trying to get around him. She's trying to look around him. So obviously he is there. The one that I kind of wonder if he's there is the guy in the sunglasses. Because if you look at everybody else, sunglasses don't even exist at this time.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to him. They're not even...
Yeah, there's no... Well, okay, so you can see his shadow on the lady's hat in front of him. So the shading looks to be right. So that shading would be about right. The only part that I'm not 100% sure is the neck. Now, there's one other person in this picture that we talked about him earlier, and this guy.
Yeah.
Does this guy look familiar? No?
Not. He looks like Gandhi or something.
Do you remember the picture of the gentleman that I said was from that was from the
and disappeared?
No, the one that said he was part of the CIA experiment.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
So we're talking in this last little bit, the last three stories, some way, somehow, they're in this one particular picture. What was special? If there was a time event in history to visit, what was so special in 1940s South Fork Bridge reopening that time travelers had to go to? I leave that for you guys, the listeners, to respond to. You can put your comments down below in there, but definitely something to look into. This is one of those ones that'll keep you going for a while. But on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap up the show for the night, because I've got one person over there overheating, and this person being nommed by vampires.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're over there, and
no,
she's
I'm the
over
other
here.
way.
Oh, well, for me, you're over there.
Oh, well, I'm not over there. I'm over here.
He's over there.
Over there, yeah.
There.
You're
Like,
on the left.
There.
And then, like I said, Renee's getting nommed by vampires, so we don't want them to suck her dry tonight. But on that note, folks, make sure you tune in next week. We'll be back again live with a very special guest from Fife Paranormal. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to miss that. Plus, part 2 will follow on the following week of our UFO journey series. Because there's still a lot more UFO information that we need to put out there.
Have you seen my guest who's been on 3 times now in the past couple of months, Dr. Robert Shipe?
Yes.
And
Yes, you guys got to go check out her shows. It's Angelic Comfort, and I know we have a link to our website to her page, so you can go to the website and visit her and see her live guests. Because yes, Renee is back on the air, folks. Don't want to miss a moment of that.
If you go to my Angelic Comfort page on YouTube and click on the live section, you'll see the videos.
Yes.
And Dr. Robert Shipe is really interesting man, very intelligent, and he talks about UFOs. So he's got like hardcore proof evidence.
I would love to talk with him one day too, because I've come across a lot of evidence and a lot of stuff that the Pentagon has started releasing, and
they're using a lot of his information.
Oh, well, I hope to God he's not the guy that I disrespected last week. So, because there was one guy who was just like, "Oh, they're not UFOs, they're that." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. You don't know what you're talking
about." He calls them dragonflies, or UAPs, or UFOs.
Yeah.
So he captures them. He captures he's really very knowledgeable.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same guy, because
I don't either.
I was really, dude.
Yeah. So on that note, Renee, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me to come on.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you again.
Oh, I love you, Annie.
I love you too, babe. And we all love EW.
Yeah, on this nice little love fest note, it's time to run. So we will see you guys next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Good night.